Hello everyone and welcome back to my opinion, and in this video I'll be talking about match 2 of IPL 2021. Now we some of you would have seen the first game yesterday, which was a kind of a thriller where RCB won off the last ball against the Mumbai Indians, breaking their jinx of the fact that whenever they've played the first game of a season they've always lost, and they broke that jinx. And also I believe the last five games in Chennai were all losses, so they kind of broke that streak. So it was good for them, and more than anything, they got this starting momentum. It's always good to start off with a win, especially against the defending champions. Now, having said that, this isn't to draw conclusions from the Mumbai Indians because they haven't won their first game since 2012. So every first game that they have every season, they haven't won it since 2012. And the thing is, we saw how CSK beat them in the first game of last season, and yet look how easily Mumbai Indians won it in the end. So again, I still feel the Mumbai Indians will still win it because if you look at the chemistry in their squad and how they've been going about it for the past few seasons. But I still think that it was a very good win for RCB, a kind of a new look RCB to just see how things are going. And so coming to today's game was between the Chennai Super Kings and the Delhi Capitals. And yesterday's game was in Chennai and today's game was in Mumbai. So it's with this new thing where they've kind of shuffled, how many games each team will be playing in each stadium. And so the maximum amount of games that a team will be playing in one stadium is 5. And so I believe that CSK aren't actually playing any games in their home stadium. And so coming to this game, looking at the team sheets of both teams, I feel like, looking at the CSK team, I actually thought it was pretty good. And I actually didn't think they would play Suresh Raina. I just thought that with the rust that he has, and especially considering, look, the reason why they would have chosen to bring Robin Uttappa in from RR is, look, I mean, they buy the old players that they buy. Why? Because they have experience and they have the pedigree. And so when you buy someone like Robin Uttappa, who you've seen how well he's done at KKR, opening the batting, and still, I feel like Rajasthan rules didn't use him the right way because honestly, the only place that he can bat nowadays is, at the top of the order, and he does very well there. So I thought, getting someone with that pedigree, it wouldn't make any sense to play him on the bench considering, look, he did play last season and Suresh Raina hasn't played cricket for a while. And so I was thinking it would be Ruturaj Gaikwad, Robin Uttappa, and Faf du Plessis as their top three, and then Raidu 4, Dhoni 5. And so the thing is, they played Suresh Raina today. And then before I go any further, I'll continue with CSK for now. So they played Suresh Raina for today rather. And if you looked at their team, it looked very good. And the thing is, numbers 1 to 11 could all bat. I mean, if you have Deepak Chahar or Shardul Thakur at number 11, I mean, that is some batting up, and on paper it looked a very good team as it has done pretty much all the time. And yeah, Rishabh Pant won the toss and put Chennai into bat. And so coming to Delhi's team, so for the first game, Delhi didn't have Rabada, Nokia, and they also didn't play Ishan Sharma or Umesh Yadav. And Shreyas Iyer from the series against England has been ruled out for the entire tournament, unfortunately, and so this has kind of given an opportunity for kind of a very young captain in Rishabh Pant. I mean, Shreyas Iyer is a young captain, but this is someone who's making their debut as captain in an IPL. And considering the confidence that he's gained through what he's done in Australia, what he's done, in this England series, which again he thoroughly deserved because one, he's an unbelievable player, and two, if you just see how people have changed their attitude towards, I mean, the same people, I mean, there would be many fans who stuck with him, I'm sure, but the people who were trolling him before in the IPL, I mean, look how things can change for someone where I think his highest score was 38 in IPL 2020, and it maybe was, and it definitely was for a long period of time. And the thing is, he then goes to Australia and makes a name for himself amidst all that trolling, all that pressure. And then he carries it on against England, and now he's the captain of, the runners up of the previous season. And by the way, I honestly think that this squad that they've got has been the most in-depth squad that there probably has been in all 14 seasons of the IPL. I mean, look at how many players that they can play. And, they can adjust their teams in different ways to suit, the conditions. And that's what I really like about this squad. And so, yeah, Shreyas Iyer was, he has been ruled out for the season, unfortunately. But and also Delhi, as I said, didn't have the players that they didn't have. But yet you look at this team and it was a class outfit, especially, you look on paper and if you look at how the players would perform and how they did perform, a class outfit. And so CSK, yeah, they were put into bat. And I thought things, especially for the first over. Now, so Chris Wilkes was playing and he got the ball to swing up front. And especially with the cover drive that Ruturaj Gaikwad hit kind of through extra cover of Chris Wilkes off, a good length ball with a touch of width. I kind of thought that, okay, with the confidence that he has gained from the previous season, and if you look how the CSK looks on this team looks on paper, maybe it would actually be okay. Now that was until the next over where Avesh Khan trapped Faf du Plessis in front, LBW. And the thing is, I thought that he maybe could have reviewed it because it may have been going over the stumps, but they didn't review it, and Faf du Plessis got off for a duck. And in came, now this was a interesting move that they did. We were expecting Suresh Raina to come in and we were thinking, for someone who hasn't played cricket for that long, we were kind of thinking to see how he would do. But Moeen Ali came in and, I'm very happy to see him in the playing 11 and in the squad. And so he came in and for me, I kind of thought, look, right, 7 for 1, I think, at that stage after 2 overs. And, they clearly want someone to come in and, hit the ball around on a Mumbai track where you have to score big. And so, especially Moeen Ali, I believe he bats a 3 for Worcestershire in the T20 Blast when he plays. And, he does a very good job there. And so you've even seen him batting a 3 for RCB a few times. And so definitely he can play that role. So I wasn't really surprised about him batting a 3. I was surprised considering you have the who is there in the batting lineup. I would have, I kind of thought it would have made more sense to put Ren at 3, but I understand where they were going with it. So in Chris Wilkes' second over, and by the way, he bowled absolutely brilliantly, and he got 1 for 8 in his 2 over spell up front. And he got Ruturaj Gaikwad caught at slip by Shikhar Dhawan, who took an excellent catch. And it was kind of the ball that nipped away at the last minute. And so CSK was 7 for 2 and were kind of reeling. And so Suresh Raina came in then, and at the end of the third over, they were 11 for 2 after 3 overs. And so it clearly wasn't going well, especially, when you're playing in Mumbai. And now, of course, playing in Mumbai does come with the ball moving around. But of course, like if you and you can see where this impacted because if you kind of have to consolidate at the time where you should really kind of be going hard at the bowling, then it will definitely put a dampener, despite the fact that CSK got quite a lot of runs on the ball at the end. It would put a dampener on where you could actually get to. And so in the end, CSK were actually 48 for 2, I think, in 8 overs. And it took a while for things to really, even though the big overs did come sometimes. I mean, you saw of Ashwin, but yeah, it wasn't exactly hurting the Delhi Capitals because at one point they were 43 for 2 in 7 overs and Ashwin had given 19 runs in the 2 overs without picking a wicket. And so, yeah, it took a while for the innings to, really get going. And it was 1 over where Moeen Ali, he hit 2 sixes of our Ashwin and then just when he was looking settled, and I think it was on 36, I mean, he played this reverse sweep, this premeditated shot off a ball that was angling into the leg side. He could have just played it, maybe he could have played it through the fine leg region for 4, but instead he tries to play a premeditated reverse sweep, and he gets caught off Ashwin, who was, by that point, and, I can understand why he got smashed because honestly in Mumbai you're not going to get any turn, but he was under pressure and it was he's very relieved and the team was very relieved that Moeen Ali was out. So it was I think 60 for 3 and yeah, Delhi were they already kind of had the upper hand in the game and they were even more back in control. Now then a partnership developed between Ambati Raidu and Suresh Raina. And the thing is, I actually kind of thought Ambati Rayudu batting at 5 was a bit of a stretch, because you see that it's like this. So you look at when he was at Mumbai Indians and he was much younger. So he could actually, you've seen him, bat at the top of the order and kind of bat in the lower middle order, especially, he batted in the middle order properly when he scored that 81 against RCB, quite a few years ago now, to win Mumbai Indians the game. And so he was more versatile when he was at the Mumbai Indians, whereas now he's kind of more of a top order player. And, with age as well. I mean, I'm not saying he can't play in the middle order, but I'm just saying that, he definitely nowadays prefers to be in the top order. And so it's that I was thinking it would be interesting to see how that went. But honestly, I thought he did pretty well. He scored, I think, a 20 odd until he got out. He kind of skied it off a slower ball and he got caught. And yeah, he actually went pretty well. And another player who went very well, and I'm going to have to say, I was wrong about him earlier. And I do acknowledge that, because Suresh Raina scored 54 of 36 all in all. And especially when he hit those sixes off the spinners, you really saw that he was back. And now, I'm actually, I'm still very surprised, because I honestly thought that it would be hard. Here's the thing about this here. So, of course, yes, he did, he played very well and everything, but I still do think that if you look at the Delhi Capitals attack now that they played in this game, I feel that they did let CSK off the hook a little bit. I'm not taking any credit away from CSK, but I really do feel that, it wasn't the main two. Nokia and Rabada were not playing. And the thing is that despite how well Avesh Khan bowled and, Chris Wilkes, all in all, I think 1 for 18 in 3 overs, you take that. Tom Curran, he really didn't execute at all. And the spinners got smashed around as well. And so I really think that they kind of let Chennai off the hook at points in this game, especially towards the end, where, they did a little bit of a recovery job, to make sure that they don't get, more than 188, because I feel that at one point CSK could have got 200, but it's that, as I said, Delhi definitely did let CSK off the hook in parts of this game, but all in all, 188 was within the reach of the Delhi batsmen at the end. And about how the innings went for CSK, so, there was a run out and Raina got out. So this was when when Raidu got out, Jadeja came in next, and things were going very well until there was a run out and Raina got out. And so then it was interesting to see how things would go, and I thought Sam Curran would come in at 7, but instead MS Dhoni walked in at 7. And here's the thing on this. Now, this isn't for any disrespect or anything. He's an unbelievable player, a legend of Indian cricket and world cricket, but I'm saying that I honestly thought, by the way the innings was going, he probably shouldn't have walked out to bat, because, again, you can't, of course, he takes 10-15 balls to get going. And so if this was at about the 10th over, he can walk out to bat. But I'm saying that, when it's about, 14.3 overs, I think, or something around that at the time. And so if you have, 5 overs left in the innings, if you take 10 or 15 balls to get set, and the other person also plays balls, and let's say if he plays 10 balls, what time do you actually have to kind of use your experience at the crease to really, change gears? You don't have time. And so, he played 2 very rusty shots and chopped it on off Avesh Khan, who bowled brilliantly. And the thing is, I thought the ball that him and Chris Wilkes a bit as well used was kind of the slow ball into the pitch. You saw that in the first game where Kyle Jamieson used that to great effect. And I thought that I was very surprised that that ball was effective on this surface when Delhi, bowled it. But yeah, it was effective. And so even though CSK got the runs that they did, I think that all in all, Delhi, they would have been disappointed that they kind of, the bowlers didn't execute towards the end. But 188, they would have still been happy with. And so now coming to Delhi batting, and honestly, from the start, this was just an absolute gift wrapped kind of win given by CSK. I'm not saying the batsmen didn't play well, but from the very start, I mean, they just gave the batsmen 2 starts. So 1 start for Prithvi Shaw and Shikhar Dhawan. And when these two kind of get into their stride, and you see how Prithvi Shaw has been doing in the Vijay Hazare Trophy, scoring almost 1,000 runs in that. And the thing is, he kind of made a technical adjustment, and so he kind of moved across, and so you saw that, especially the six that he hit off Deepak Chahar, kind of almost over a long off. It was where you saw that in the previous season that he actually would have got out playing that shot, because he would have kind of tried to go like this, and in the end he would just skied it, well, not skied it, but it would have just gone to probably like mid on. But in this situation, it was just kind of a subtle change, but he was much better off playing that shot, and I went for six. And you kind of saw, that he controlled his bat speed when he played. So you saw in the previous season, he kind of went too hard at many deliveries, but in this, I really thought that it was he kind of showed his class, and with the shots that he was playing throughout his innings, he really played kind of a dynamite innings and just really showed his class, as I said. And yeah, him and Dhawan completely took the game away from CSK. And when Prithvi Shaw finally did get out, I mean, I can't remember what it was of. I think it was a catch. And by the way, there were a few drops off Prithvi Shaw, but it was kind of when he was well settled into his innings, kind of like the 30s or 40s, because it was kind of really flawless from the openers, really. And yeah, they really just set the tone from the very start. I mean, I would say from the very first over that was bowled, you could tell the CSK were not going to win this game. And it continued on with a 7-wicket win by Delhi Capitals. And the thing is, you could say they kind of slowed down towards the end, and yet they completed the game in 18.4 overs. So you could see how well they were going. Shardul Thakur gave 2 for 53, and I think it was in 3.4 overs. And I honestly thought that CSK had a better chance than what it turned out to be to defend this total, because I thought, look, right, you have 16 overs of seam, and my focus was on kind of hiding the 4 overs of spin, because if seeing how the other bowlers got obliterated, and also seeing how Jadeja and T20 Sami is his bowling is very patchy. And so, especially in a Wankhede track, which is, not very great for spinners, and considering you have Shikhar Dhawan and Rishabh Pant in the lineup. So, more than actually hiding the spinners, this was, the fast bowlers didn't get it right either. And you kind of saw all these full tosses from the fast bowlers, and also this ridiculous no ball from Moeen Ali that almost went over the batsman, or at least went at head height, kind of just looped a bit. And so it really was an out of sorts performance from CSK. And yeah, I mean, the batting, they recovered very well. And considering that they were 48 in 8 overs, getting 188 is just fantastic, especially against the runners up. And even though it was they didn't have Nokia and Rabada, I mean, this is still a class attack even without those two. And so honestly, I feel that CSK's batting, it wasn't in question here, because they did recover and they put a very good total on the board. It was just the fact they should have done a better job in defending this. I mean, look, right, you look at Delhi Capitals' batting lineup and you think it's gonna be a tall order defending this anyway. But you'd rather what? Like if it was 190 for 5 in 19.3, I wouldn't mind this so much. But the way that it was, that's the thing, that CSK got completely destroyed really in the second innings. And that's the reason why I just don't want it to kind of set in stone like it was in 2020, because you look at this team on paper, it's a class team. And I just feel that it's going to have to be something that they're going to have to adapt to, because they're not playing a single game in Chennai. And so having to play, I think they're playing 5 games in Mumbai. So actually they're going to have to play a lot of their games on, faster tracks. And so maybe they're going to have to, rejig their team a little bit, kind of, chop and change a bit. I mean, not too much, but I'm just saying that, as far as the conditions are concerned, maybe not play a few people. And the thing is, my take was that, you look at the fact that I think Josh Hazelwood is out of, this tournament, and so they've gotten a very good replacement in Jason Behrendorff. Now, the problem is you can't play him, because it will probably disrupt the balance of the side if you have Faf du Plessis, you have Sam Curran, Dwayne Bravo, And then I'm trying to think that because if you play Berendorf, you can't play Moeen Ali, and so you lose out on a batting option, a kind of a dynamic player who the lineup, despite the fact that they scored 188 today, has been struggling with for the for this from the season before, and you're losing out on a spinner, and they bought Moeen Ali to play that role of a finger spinner because their spinners really struggled last year, and that's the thing. So if you're not gonna play Moeen Ali, you could play Krishnappa Gautam, but who would you rather play, honestly? So that's the thing. The CSK may have a few, despite the fact that the team looks very good on paper. I just saw that today they looked a bit out of answers. Now I'm not saying that they're gonna look like this all the time. You look how Shardul Thakur's been doing for India in the England series and also that Test match in Australia. You look how how consistently good Deepak Chahar is with the new ball. Can swing the ball both ways. And from last season, statistically swung it more and longer than other new ball bowlers. And so again, I feel like both of those two, are very good. And the thing about Sam Curran. So it's like, so he's not very quick, and he probably wouldn't be able. It won't be the same effect like a Deepak Chahar. He's not gonna get as much swing as Deepak Chahar is. So here's the thing. So you'll probably play him more for his batting in these kind of situations than you will for his bowling. And I think that's the kind of thing, is that they don't really have someone who's incisive. Despite the fact that they're all good, you're not going to be depending on Sam Curran to take bags of hits. I mean, he's a serious cricketer, but in these situations and kind of, these faster tracks, could you really rely on Sam Curran? No, you couldn't. And, that's the thing. I just thought that the bowlers that they have are relatively inexperienced. I mean, they've been around for a while, but they're not that experienced in terms of playing. I mean, you look at Deepak Chahar is effectively only 3 years old in kind of this level of cricket, and Shardul Thakur, despite the fact he's been around for a while, has not really had as much experience, and so this attack, it's a very good attack. I mean, on paper and in real life performance, it is a very good attack. But I'm saying sometimes, especially today, they did seem to be out of answers when they actually kind of batsmen went after them. And looking at the charisma that this Delhi Capitals team has, and even without Shreyas Iyer, you know, I they bust the batting effort today completely. And you look at their batting lineup. I mean, they honestly are. I reckon it'll be a Mumbai versus Delhi final again, but you never know. We'll see how things go. And on Rishabh Pant, I just feel like you saw a few boundaries that he hit. I mean, he really seemed to be enjoying himself in this new role, and that's why I'm saying I'm actually really excited for the Delhi Capitals this season because. All right, look, it's a huge blow not to have Shreyas Iyer in the team. I mean, as I said, I mean, he's probably one of the most serious cricketers that there are. And I mean, he's kind of recognized as a star. And he's only 26 years old. And you look at the reputation he has. And, he's a captain of a team that I know he's not there this season, but a team that was a runner up in the previous season and finished at qualifier 2 in the season before that. So clearly it's been an upward trajectory, and there's also been an upward trajectory in his career because you've seen the fact that he's playing for India in ODIs and T20s. And so, yeah, it's great for him. Unfortunately, he's not there in this tournament, but I feel like this is such a good opportunity for someone like a Rishabh Pant to really. I honestly think, and I hope that this happens, Rishabh Pant and Delhi Capitals having a great season this year will really elevate Rishabh Pant's standing, as a cricketer. And I mean, look, right, people have looked at his Australia performance and people looked at his England performance and kind of thought he has ability. And, that's the thing about this. I mean, people still, they've really enjoyed the fact that he's done these things, and he really feels happy with himself. But I'm saying that as a captain of an IPL franchise and such a good bunch of players, as I said, probably the most in-depth squad there would probably ever be in the 14 years of IPL, and managing this group of players, leading them and being such an exuberant kind of youngster yourself, if he leads Delhi Capitals, even if he leads them to kind of like qualify two or even runners up or anything, if he gets past the top four stage and has a great season, I mean, I'm sure this will elevate Rishabh Pant's standing as a cricketer, because this will kind of really make him gain the respect that he's deserved for so long, because he won't just be looked as someone who has ability. I mean, he'll be looked at someone who is, a very, very good leader. And I feel that will be great for his career. And yeah, that was this game. And so, yeah, it's not very often seeing CSK over, over the course of the IPL. It's not very often that after the first game, you have this feeling as a CSK fan that you do, considering what's happened in the last season. Because honestly, barring 2020, there's probably never been a failure ever. And so, yeah, it's gonna be kind of a different experience to deal with. What would happen. Anything can happen in the season. As I said, look, we have a class squad, and I'm sure that they'll find a way to do something. But here's the thing: I'm actually not expecting us to qualify this year, because I wasn't expecting us to, because look, these problems don't go overnight. You have the same squad, and you bought. I thought we bought well in the auction to fill in some positions, especially you look at Moeen Ali to kind of have a dynamic batsman and a finger spinner as well. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see where this season goes for us. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and please share this video with your friends. And remember, this is my opinion. What's yours?